How many of you wonder about how the first life began on Earth and how life will end? At the end of this video, you will find out how we evolved from a single cell and what the 4 things that gonna lead to the end of life on Earth. The origin of life on Earth remains a mystery, and there are many theories about how life began. One famous one is that life began in oceans with a single cell. That single cell began using sun energy to power life-giving chemical reactions. These cells formed a bridge between Earth and the sun, delicate engines that harness the fires of our stars using sunlight to turn carbon dioxide and water into food. This process is known as photosynthesis, unleashed the sun's creative power and drove the evolution of complexity from primitive bacteria to plants and trees, and ultimately you and me. But where did that single cell come from? In 1977, scientists researching the Galapagos Rift, a mid-ocean ridge in the eastern Pacific, detected a series of temperature increases in their data. They were perplexed as to how deep ocean temperatures could fluctuate so dramatically, from near freezing to 400 degrees Celsius, over such a short distance. The scientists had made a fantastic discovery: deep-sea hydrothermal vents. They also discovered a whole unique environment surrounding the vents, which included hundreds of new species. Despite the severe temperatures and pressures, toxic minerals, and lack of sunshine that defined the deep-sea vent habitat, the creatures there thrived. Scientists eventually discovered that bacteria were turning harmful vent minerals into usable forms of energy via a process known as chemosynthesis, providing food for other vent creatures. Hydrothermal vents are seafloor geysers or hot springs. Magma rises and cools along mid-ocean ridges as tectonic plates stretch apart, forming new crust and volcanic mountain chains. Seawater circulates deep within the ocean's crust and is superheated by molten magma. As pressure grows and the seawater heats, it begins to dissolve minerals and rises to the surface of the crust. The hot, mineral-rich waters then exit the marine crust, mixing with the cool seawater above. The vent minerals cool and harden as mineral deposits, forming several forms of hydrothermal vent structures. It's interesting how vent species can survive and grow in such severe pressures and temperatures, as well as in hazardous mineral plumes. The conversion of mineral-rich hydrothermal fluids into energy is a critical component of these distinct ecosystems. Bacteria use chemosynthesis to give energy and nutrition to vent species in the absence of sunlight. This is one of many theories about how life began, like abiogenesis, panspermia, extraterrestrial origin, and RNA world hypothesis. Now let's take panspermia. It should be interesting. The origin of life on Earth has long been a topic of fascination and speculation. While the exact mechanism by which life began remains uncertain, one intriguing hypothesis posits that life may have originated from extraterrestrial sources. This idea, known as panspermia, suggests that the seeds of life are distributed throughout the universe and can be transported from one planetary system to another, potentially leading to the emergence of life on suitable planets like Earth. Panspermia finds its roots in the discovery of organic molecules in space. Over the past few decades, astronomers have detected a wide range of organic compounds, including amino acids, in the interstellar medium, comets, and meteorites. These molecules are considered the building blocks of life, and their presence in space raises the tantalizing possibility that life's ingredients are not unique to Earth, but are widespread throughout the cosmos. One of the key pieces of evidence supporting panspermia is the resilience of life in extreme environments. Extremophiles are microorganisms that thrive in conditions once thought uninhabitable, such as deep-sea hydrothermal vents, acidic hot springs, and frozen Antarctic lakes. These organisms have demonstrated the ability to survive high levels of radiation, extreme temperatures, and other harsh conditions. Such resilience suggests that life could potentially survive the journey through space, increasing the likelihood of panspermia as a viable hypothesis. Moreover, the discovery of organic molecules in meteorites and comets provides further support for panspermia. These extraterrestrial objects contain a variety of complex organic compounds, including amino acids and nucleotides, which are essential for life as we know it. While some of these molecules could have formed on the meteorites themselves, their presence in space rocks suggests that similar molecules could have been delivered to Earth from space, potentially seeding our planet with the building blocks of life. In conclusion, while the panspermia hypothesis remains speculative, it offers a fascinating perspective on the origins of life. Panspermia challenges our conventional understanding of biology and evolution by suggesting that life may be a cosmic phenomenon. Whether or not panspermia played a role in the origin of life on Earth, the hypothesis underscores the interconnectedness of the universe and the potential for life to exist beyond our planet. As we continue to explore the cosmos, the quest to understand origins may ultimately lead us to new insights into the nature of life itself. Like the origin, we also have many theories about the ending of life. Let's start with asteroid impact. When a city-sized asteroid struck the Gulf of Mexico 66 million years ago, it was game over for the dinosaurs, as well as most other species on Earth at the time. And while our ancestors hadn't yet evolved, the impact was perhaps the single most important event in human history. Without that asteroid strike, dinosaurs might have continued to rule the Earth, leaving us mammals still cowering in the shadows. Humans, however, won't always be on the winning side of such random events. A future asteroid could just as easily take out every person on Earth. Fortunately, that's unlikely to happen anytime soon. Based on the geological record of cosmic impacts, Earth gets hit by a large asteroid roughly every 100 million years, according to NASA. However, smaller asteroid impacts do happen all the time. There's even evidence that some people may have been killed by small meteorite impacts within the past few thousand years. But what are the chances that our planet will ever be struck by an asteroid massive enough to wipe out all life on Earth? Simulations published in Nature back in 2017 suggest it would take a truly gigantic space rock to accomplish such a feat. Killing all life on Earth would require an impact that literally boils away the oceans. And only asteroids like Pallas and Vesta, the solar system's largest, are big enough to do that. There is evidence that infant Earth was struck by a large planetoid called Theia. But these days, collisions of such large objects are extremely unlikely. Nearly 2.5 billion years ago, a period called the Great Oxidation Event gave us the breathable atmosphere we all now depend on. An eruption of cyanobacteria, sometimes called blue-green algae, filled our atmosphere with oxygen, creating a world where multicellular life forms could take hold, and where creatures like humans could ultimately breathe. However, one of Earth's great die-offs, an event 450 million years ago called the Late Ordovician mass extinction, likely happened because the inverse took place. The planet saw a sudden drop in oxygen levels that lasted for several million years. What could have caused such an extreme event? During the Ordovician period, the continents were one jumbled mass called Gondwana. Most life on Earth still lived in the oceans, but plants were beginning to emerge on land. Then, near the end of the Ordovician, a sweeping climate shift left the supercontinent covered with glaciers. That global cooling alone was enough to start killing off species. But then a second pulse of the extinction ramped up as oxygen levels plummeted. Scientists see evidence of this shift in seafloor samples collected from around the world. Some researchers think that the glaciers were responsible for fundamentally changing the layers of the oceans, which have unique temperatures and specific concentrations of elements like oxygen. Yet, the exact cause of the oxygen drop is still up for debate. Whatever the cause, the result is that more than 80% of life on Earth died during the late Ordovician mass extinction, according to some estimates. So, it may have happened before, but could a deoxygenation event happen again? In an eerie comparison to today, researchers involved in the recent Nature Communications study say that climate change is already reducing oxygen levels in our oceans, potentially killing off marine species. GRBs are mysterious events that seem to be the most violent and energetic explosions in the cosmos, and astronomers suspect they're tied to extreme supernovae. However, we haven't yet seen a burst close enough to us to fully understand what's going on. So far, GRBs have only been spotted in other galaxies. But if one did happen in the Milky Way, as has likely happened in the past, it could cause a mass extinction on Earth. A GRB pointed in our direction might last just 10 seconds or so, but it could still destroy at least half of Earth's ozone in that short period of time. As humans have learned in recent decades, even a relatively small amount of ozone depletion is enough to chip away at our planet's natural sunscreen, causing serious problems. Wiping out the ozone on a large enough scale could wreak havoc on food chains, killing off huge numbers of species. A GRB would wipe out the life forms that live in the upper levels of the ocean, which currently contribute significant amounts of oxygen to our atmosphere. And, it turns out, gamma rays also break apart atmospheric oxygen and nitrogen. These gases get converted into nitrogen dioxide. Having this smog blanketing the entire Earth would block out sunshine and kickstart a global ice age. The researchers suggest that our oxygen-rich atmosphere is not a permanent feature of the planet. Instead, in about 1 billion years, solar activity will cause atmospheric oxygen to plummet back down to the level it was before the Great Oxidation Event. To determine this, the authors combined climate models and biogeochemistry models to simulate what will happen to the atmosphere as the sun ages and puts out more energy. They found that eventually, Earth reaches a point where atmospheric carbon dioxide breaks down. At that point, oxygen-producing plants and organisms that rely on photosynthesis will die out. Our planet won't have enough life forms to sustain the oxygen-rich atmosphere humans and other animals require. The precise timing of when that starts and how long it takes, the deoxygenation process could take as few as 10,000 years, depends on a broad range of factors. But in the end, the authors say this cataclysm is an unavoidable one for the planet. Luckily, humanity still has another 1 billion years to figure out other plans. But we can move out to the next planet like Mars or Titan. What do you think? Comment below.